it can be really easy to overlook and not be aware of or feel the progress that's happening in your relationship. So I want to give you three really good signs that your relationship is actually growing stronger when you may not realize it. See, meaningful progress, progress of substance, right? Towards something that matters, something that really has value to you, typically takes time. It's typically a slower process. It's typically something that you don't really recognize the progress happening moment to moment. It's so much more of a compilation and outcome you get on the other side after a duration of time has passed, that in the moments of doing the things, the steps, the small steps that leads up to that big result, is really hard to identify if you're not intentionally looking for it. It's not as overt, right? And I'm saying this because it's so much easier for us to see smaller things or smaller moments or one-off moments of something that we don't want, we don't like, or something that feels like a setback because it has a pain point to it, right? It's not comfortable. It doesn't feel good. It's not what you want to experience. So therefore, your brain detects it better, because that's your brain's job, to identify things that could be potentially harmful to you or not a good experience for you. So it's very important to have the same ability to actually identify and pull out the little progress you make and the steps that you're taking and the little mini results you're getting, mini wins, I like to call them, towards your big overall outcome, right? Because it helps so much with keeping your mind in the game that is your relationship a lot better, to where you stay dialed in, you stay hopeful, you stay optimistic, right? Versus becoming very pessimistic or feeling like, I don't know if we'll ever get there, right? It's helped so much for you staying motivated and excited about a relationship that you value and you want to progress further, right? And this is mostly important when it comes to you having a relationship that's been unhealthy and it's needed repair. You have a lot of challenges and obstacles that you've been trying to work through. And so it's defeating when you feel like you're just continuing to pound at trying to figure it out and work it out, and you're not there at the goal line yet, and you can feel like you're never going to get there. But oftentimes that's because we're not realizing or noticing the small steps of growth and progress that we're making with our partner collectively, right? Not something that you're doing on your own and your partner's not, because that the relationship's not going to progress that way. But if you both are actually truly dialed in and you love each other dearly and you're putting the work in, and at the moment, at this season, it doesn't feel like you're going that much further, you have to dial into these signs to be able to identify, wow, we are actually taking some steps. It's not as fast as I would like, and it's not where I want it to be, but wow, this makes me feel good that we're actually on the right track. Or these signs don't have to even be a reflection of you guys repairing issues in your relationship. Maybe you don't have big issues, or it's not that bad in your relationship and you're not having all this turmoil, but you still are concerned about how fast you guys are growing, if you're growing at all, and how you're evolving together as a unit. So these signs also are great for helping you see that as well, that you're still growing, even if your relationship is not in the most unhealthy position. But the first great sign of this is when you both start preempting each other's needs, meaning instead of you waiting for your partner to come to you and say, oh, I had a rough day, or they start, vocalizing or overtly showing you that they could use support, you already jump in when you notice the signs and the cues. When you read their energy when they come home or they come into the room, and you automatically go over to maybe give them a hug, or a back rub, or maybe you give them space. Maybe you see that they're in a space and you just give them some distance to unwind and get their zen right before you step in. And as this becomes more common as time goes on, it starts to show a deeper level of empathy and understanding towards one another, right? Which is something that you only develop and get through consistent actions over time, to where literally you're starting to move from a relationship to where each person has to be super vocal to get their needs met by each other, to you instinctively know what to do when your partner is showing certain signs or mannerisms or body language or what have you, or even they say certain catch words or phrases without telling you directly what's going on, and you already have an idea of what to do to help alleviate their stress, to help be their support system, to help have their back. If you're experiencing this, if you realize this, then It's a great sign that you guys are growing stronger than ever because you're learning to evolve together as one with less verbal intention needed to voice what is required for each other. So now a second really big sign, right, is when conflict resolution becomes a lot less draining, where you still have disagreements, but they're a lot shorter now, right? They're a lot more focused on mutual understanding. They're less exhausting, right? Your ability to bounce back is so much faster than it was before. And you're actually learning things, taking away lessons from the last disagreement you had, and you're building on that to get even better and better at resolving things a lot quicker. You spend less time playing the blame game, right, with each other, and more time literally trying to understand and process each other, right? And when you speak to each other during disagreements, it's a lot more productive. You keep calmer tones, it's more respectful versus carrying an energy or demeanor or using vocabulary or delivery that is offensive or makes your partner defensive. This is a great sign that you guys' communication skills are improving. And that is a huge plus towards you guys evolving together and becoming stronger as a unit. And the third, probably biggest sign that's piggybacking off of the second one is you start to shift from a me versus you to a us versus the problem way of thinking. So whenever you guys face different challenges now, you feel more like you're on the same team instead of on the opposite team, right? Like it's, every time something happens, it's me against them, right? You start feeling like you guys are fighting the same battle from the same side against your challenges versus you both being the challenge to each other. You start moving together as a unit to tackle issues together, right? And it gets reflected most through your initial reaction. When your regurgitative reaction is to think solution based instead of blame based, this is when you guys are really making great progress and strides in that way. Where your first go-to is, even if there's like a financial slip up or something like that, right? And someone dropped the ball in some sort of a way, the first thing you do is not say, "Oh shoot, you did this, I can't believe you dropped that ball." Your first instinct is, "Okay, yeah, it happened. Yeah, I know you didn't mean to. So what could we do to make sure this doesn't happen again going forward, right? How could I help you in that degree or in that area? What kind of a strategy can we put in place or a formula so that neither of us makes that mistake going forward, right?" To where you don't put the crosshairs of blame on either person, right? On either of you, right? No one has to be the bad guy, if you will, even though, yes, one of you may have done something that has caused an issue or whatever the case is, but you both understand that neither of you would intentionally do something that would impact the unit, you guys' relationship in a negative way intentionally, right? So you're more so focused on, all right, how can we make sure this outcome doesn't happen again? Doesn't matter who created or caused it. The reason why this is such a huge sign that you guys are doing a great job at evolving together and being on the same team is because it really screams that you both have gotten into a collaborative type of mentality instead of a competitive one, right? You're not looking to compete with each other. You're looking to collaborate with each other towards your same common shared goals. These signs may not seem so overt and monumental, right? But they are huge building block, stepping stone pieces towards the destination you're looking to get to. And I just wanted to highlight these for you because so oftentimes whenever we're in the rut or we're in the rough space with our partner and we start trying to do the work to get through it, we're only focused on that pain point at the beginning we started with, right? That narrative that came from that says, "Oh, my relationship's not that great." And until you're fully experiencing the other side, you can still feel like it's not that great. This is why it's important to notice these signs and these drops in the bucket or the well of growth and evolution, if you will, to recognize that, no, we are doing great. We are growing stronger. We are making strides so that whenever you look up 3, 4, 5, however many months down the road to a year plus, and you really see the major difference versus where you began, right? So always be self-aware of the present with all the pieces, not just the pain points. Notice the intended effort the intended work towards the same goal. Even whenever you guys have missteps, or you drop the ball here and there, how's the bounce back look, right? What's the focus still? What's the fundamental principles and practices that you're doing day in and day out versus where you began and how things started or where you were at one point? So even though you're not at the destination, what are you doing in the micro moments, the micro actions that lead up to the destination? And if you're on par with sticking to doing those things or progressing through those things, even as small or slow of a step it may be, or a process or speed or pace, you're still doing a great job towards becoming stronger. Your strength is building. It's just like being in the gym. If you want to build an amazing body with amazing muscles or whatever you want to say, you're not going to go in there for a week or two and all of a sudden have this whole new body. But every single time you go into that gym, every single curl that you do or whatever it is that you're doing, your body is building, creating new cells, bit by bit, until it starts to compound and becomes faster and the momentum builds until you look up one day and wow, it's this new body you have, right? Same thing works in your relationship. Stay dialed in and never forget that. If you and your partner need help to actually bridge your gap to make sure you can go stronger and work through your conflict resolution in more productive ways instead of against each other, being with each other, right? Being on the same team versus being competitors or opponents. Email or DM me the word coaching as long as you're truly ready to put the work in. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching, don't have the time or the space, email or DM me the word revival to join my Relationship Revival Hub community where you can learn the same things I teach my clients one-on-one at your own pace, on your own time, with my live weekly coaching lessons and Q&A sessions that I do weekly that are on replay as well if you can't be there live to actually see it, or my content I make exclusively for just my members to answer any questions, provide any tools or advice that you need for your situation in particular, on top of my courses and other coaching resources I have in the community. Either way, do something to get in the race. Let's get it.